These are the men and women of Beaver Valley, the bravest of the brave. They fought fearlessly for their country, their city, their community, and for the ideals we share as Americans. They served proudly in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Here now are their stories, their own experiences in their own words, the words of the heroes of Beaver Valley. Sewickley native Bill Russo was just about to marry his wife, Mary Kay, in 1967, when he learned that he was soon going to be drafted for the Vietnam War.
We had planned everything, and we didn't know I was going to go to Vietnam. We really didn't know what to do. And of course, I didn't want to leave my wife, a widow. I was a hometown boy, lived here all my life, and never thought I would ever be going anywhere. My number was 4 for the draft, so I knew I was going. So I went and enlisted in the Air Force because I wanted to do something that I wanted to do.
Russo went to Lackland Air Force Base in Texas for basic training, and then went on to several other sites for more training. He was ultimately given orders to go to Pleiku Air Force Base in Vietnam.
I actually got to Cameron Bay 2 days after Thanksgiving, and a lieutenant knew I was coming, and he met me at the airport, and he said to me, I tried to get you to come, to get you transferred to me. Well, he couldn't do anything about it. And he said, you're going to the worst places in Vietnam that could possibly be. Pleiku was the end of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And every day, there wasn't a day the whole time that I was there that we weren't under attack by not by the Viet Cong, by the NVA, North Vietnamese Regular Army.
Serving as a crew chief of a C-47 named Puff the Magic Dragon, Russo's job was to make sure the maintenance of the plane was upheld and that its armament was working.
We were in direct support of the 4th Armored Division Infantry. When they would go out on a mission, we would follow right behind them. It was an experience from a guy that had never been involved in anything like that before. It was very disheartening to see people killed and being responsible for people that were killed. And during the Tet Offensive, it didn't matter what your job was. Everybody, including cooks, mechanics, chefs, whatever you were out on the perimeter and protecting the base. I was fortunate because I didn't get hurt, but we lost quite a bit of men over there, right there.
One of those men was a friend of Russo's, who had arrived with him in Vietnam.
And his plane was shot down about 6 months after, and they were killed in the jungle. The plane crashed. So they weren't, I think I took that harder than anything. So, and I realized then that this was the real thing here.
When he returned home from Vietnam, Russo's wife, brother, and his sister-in-law were all waiting for him at the airport. While he had support from his family, the public's reaction to him was not as positive.
I think the biggest thing to me, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but, when I came home, that was terrible. That was worse. And actually, I was spit on, and that was no joke, and called baby killers, which we would never have done that, even though we were accused of doing that. That was bad.
Russo did eventually receive thanks for his service many years later. In one instance, he still remembers clearly.
And we were sitting on an ice cream place, and I had my hat on, and these 2 little boys, and they came up and they said, "Excuse me, mister." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Is there any way we could shake your hand?" And I said, "Why?" And they said, "We saw you were in Vietnam. Give me a hug." He gave me a hug. Those kids were in tears. 2 little kids, maybe 4, maybe 6. And he said, you weren't treated right.
Overall, Russo is proud to have served his country and often reflects on how his service changed him.
I guess you could say it was an eye-opening experience for me. Hometown boy who was a mama's boy, and that's what I was. I was no American hero. I don't want anybody to think that, but made me grow up. I grew up in a hurry.